Hey friends, Powwow Phoenix here. Just want to talk to you about an interesting topic that uh, crosses cultural lines, religious lines, magical tradition lines, folk tradition lines, and that is the creation of what is called a magic circle. Um, Back in the 90s and the very early 2000s, I was learning about modern witchcraft and uh, paganistic views and Wiccanistic views and Wicca religion and such with. And during those days, we learned about the magic circle, which I always found interesting. I always liked the sort of ritualistic component to that. It was in later years that I found out that the very idea for that comes from Judeo-Christian, sort of like the ceremonial magic. And in particular, a lot of that was inspired by the Golden Dawn, which is very interesting to me. But uh, one of the things that the Golden Dawn brought to us is something called the Lesser Banishing Ritual, the pentagram. But more importantly, much of what I found in those Wiccan days, with their circle casting and like calling quarters or watchtowers and stuff, came directly from the Key of Solomon, the Lesser Key of Solomon. And these are Judeo-Christian grimoires of ceremonial magic. So it's very interesting that the ritualistic structure of Wicca is, Judeo-Christian. Um, but I found that interesting, and I really like those elements. So in the tradition of powwow, we do have like some history of using quote unquote magic circles. First of all, in the 6 and 7 books of Moses, which, in my opinion, I've talked about this before, is basically the grimoire of a hexenmeister. A hexenmeister is a powwow who also embraces the idea of like fighting against like negative entities and negative witchery and such. 6 and 7 books of Moses. Uh, this is a lovely copy, but this has many different magic circles and seals and such that you can either just draw as a talisman or draw like directly on the ground for your conjuring pleasure. um, the idea of a circle is to designate a space for a specific thing. In the Wicca days, they said we were basically creating this magical sphere of energy around ourselves, and we had to pull energy from the ground and like use it to form this structure and such with. I no longer adhere to that. I think it's more of a God, I designate this space to be my sacred area while I'm doing this specific thing. And, as long as what we're doing is true and quote unquote righteous, I hate that word, but as long as we're doing the work that God is calling us to do, then we'll be all right. But anyway, being human, we're not always going to do the work that God calls us to do, and that's okay. But also a famous powwower in history, Peter Saylor, was known for using a magic circle. And one most notably that's recorded in history is that he drew a magic circle to do a sort of a ritual to stop a thief or catch a thief. I can't, I don't remember where I read that, but um, yes. So magic circles are used. There's the semi-famous of the pseudo-biblical figure Honi, who goes into a village that's plagued by a drought. He draws a circle on the ground. Honi the circle maker, sorry. Honi the circle maker draws a circle on the ground, stands within it, and like commands God to give rain, and it does rain. Um, Interesting story. I have more about that and a link to something on my website, pagermanpowwow.com. Just keep in mind the website's been under new management for like a year, so I actually haven't seen the website in a while. So there should be still a link and a page about the magic circle, but if not, you can search it. Honi is Honi, the circle maker. Interesting stuff. So anyway, that's the idea of the magic circle. It's a place that you have designated, you've drawn it out on the ground or the floor or whatever. In one of my books, the Powwow Grimoire, I outline how a powwower can use a circle. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Like this is the circle is drawn. It's the six-pointed star with a double ring around it, and it has the four, like the unknowable names of God. It's like Yadevothe, Adonai, Ea, and Agla, which is Thou art mighty and forever, my Lord. Those are written around the perimeter, and they, of course, come from the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. And then there are seven psalms that are used. Now, this comes directly from the Lesser Key of Solomon, or the Greater Key of Solomon, one of the Key of Solomon books. Offhand, it's in there, but there are seven psalms that are recited that, as you draw this on the floor, or paint it or scratch it in the dirt or the sand, you are to recite these seven psalms, and then by the seventh psalm, you're in a space that it's just you and God, and you're surrounded by the angelic choirs that protect you, and then you do your work, and then in order to, I guess, dissipate everything, then you would do the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and that clears it all away. So it's pretty good stuff. If you're interested in learning how a powwower creates a magic circle, check out in the Lesser Key of Solomon, and you'll find that there, those seven psalms and the instructions for preparation, preparing yourself, preparing your space, and so on and so forth. Another interesting thing is that in Pennsylvania history, there was something known as the Hexen. The Hexen were the witches. This is pre-modern Wicca, neo-pagan witchery. This is like historical witches, like the people that sold themselves to the devil. And a couple of methods used to do that. One was to pass on, this is a complex topic, but to pass on the curse of witchcraft to a descendant, so you could rest in peace at death. You would make a circle of flour on the floor, put that child in there, pass on the curse to that child. Then when you die, you rest in peace, and then they're stuck with it. Another one was to kill a cat, remove its leg bone, stand in a circle and hold that leg bone out, and you would feel the touch of the devil, and that would then empower you to work nefarious magic, and that cat's leg bone would be almost like your magic wand. It would be your tool. Another method was to stand on a pile of manure and renounce Christ while holding out your left hand. Renounce Christ, speak your desire to give yourself to Satan in exchange for the power of magic. You would receive a black mark on your hand, and that means you are empowered to do magic in the name of the devil. You know, how many people actually did this? I don't know. I can't say. Maybe none, maybe a bunch. But anyway, it's just another kind of interesting tidbit about the magic circle. So if you, in your folk magic, folk practices, folk healing practices, intend to use a circle, like another thing I could say is I like to use chalk a lot to make markings on the ground or the floor or whatever. So you can do, like, if you're doing general blessings for someone, you can make a circle around them in white chalk. If you're doing healing for someone, you can make a circle around them in red chalk. If you're doing like hex removal and some or protection work, you can do a circle around them in black chalk. So just another use of the magic circle. So anyway, that's all I really had to say about tonight. I think it's a very interesting subject. I mean, a lot could be said about the magic circle. I think it's just a really interesting concept. It's an interesting thing to work with, to kind of create. The way I do it is a lengthy creation to draw that out on the floor, to recite those seven psalms. But it's an extremely like profound and religious and kind of like holy experience. So when you do it right, you know you've done it right. If you do it like half-heartedly, or as they say, half-assed, your results are going to be just as half-assed, I guess. So that's it. A couple things I recommend are the sixth and seventh books of Moses. This book, Hex and Cough Healing History and Hexerai, History Healing Hexarite, whatever. Um, you can get a copy of my Powwow grimoire, or I have that information on my website for free. So check that out, pagermanpowwow.com. And that's it for now. So I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you all had a nice Easter. Hope everybody's healthy, happy, safe, and God bless you guys. Love you, and we'll talk soon.